The anger refuses to die. Protests raging across the country, but schools are refusing to roll back the fee hike.
I'm trying to meet the Chief Minister, I'm trying to meet the Education Minister. Once I met Education Minister Mr. Taude, immediately after he had taken over charge, he said, oh, give us some time, we'll look into the laws and all. But it is more than 2 years, 3 years now. I'm still waiting.
I'm a salaried person and genuine taxpayer. I don't want free Wi-Fi. What I expecting from you is cap on this private school fees, which we can afford as a parents.
The major issue is that the fee has been hiked every year when there is a rule very clear-cut setting that you can hike a fee twice in 2 years, once you can do it. So which has not been followed. Secondly, every time they have excuse that we are a minority school, a non-aided school, we want government to see that this loophole has been closed.
Right now, the fight is about not having the fee hike this year, but in the long run, we want a cap on the school fees. That's the permanent solution.
Only one demand is there. If Modi ji is saying one nation, one tax, then there should be a one nation and one fee.
An 11-member committee has been constituted by the Maharashtra Education Department, but the composition of the panel raises fresh questions. 2 members of the panel already face serious charges of wrongdoing. Rustam Kerawala, trustee of Vibgyor High, lost a case in 2011 over the rustication of a student over the fee hike issue. And Jesus Lal of Universal High, accused of molesting a teacher.
There are many leaders across parties, NCP, Shiv Sena, Congress, who have vested interest in schools because many of them do run very well-known high-end schools across Maharashtra. Now, how willing is the government to actually go ahead and amend the fee structure and to arm twist the school management to not hike the fee the way they have been doing in the past few years is a very big question.
Despite all the assurances, no respite in sight for these parents who have received nothing but the customary lip service from every quarter. Mirror Now report.
Well, the question that we're asking this evening is very simple. We're running out of time, but the government is doing precious little. And in Maharashtra, where the government has taken steps, there are now questions about perhaps vested interests. Why are people with the dodgy track records being nominated to the committee? The committee has done one meeting, but for some reason, the minutes of that meeting are not being released. And also, our sister newspaper, the Mumbai Mirror, had an article today that pointed out that the committee has recommended as a solution to the school fee problem, that if the government, and this is the government proposal, that if 2/3 of the parents accept the school fees and pay the school fees despite the hike, then the remaining lose their right to protest. Parents now say that this is completely unfair and it has only been put in place for the benefit of the schools who are represented in the committee. Also, to make matters worse, we took a look at it. We tried to figure out why is it that government is reluctant to regulate schools. We found out that there are a lot of politicians who have stake in schools. There are a lot of politicians from various political parties. From the NCP, for example, there's the Pawar Public School that is owned by Chairperson Supriya S. Sule. The Bharati Vidyapeeth, which is an umbrella organization that owns various schools, has Mr. Kadam from the Congress party. Goldcrest High is currently being run by Amit Deshmukh, who is the founder and the president from the Congress party. D.Y. Patil International School chairman, Dr. P.D. Patil of the Congress party. Kohinoor Education Trust, Dr. Manohar Joshi of the Shiv Sena. Is that the reason perhaps why these government agencies are not willing to take action on schools? That's the question we're asking this evening. If the government truly wants to be fair, then this particular regulation that they have proposed should not be brought in. Joining me on the show this evening, Niranjan Shetty, spokesperson of the BJP, Clyde Crasto, spokesperson of the NCP, Jayant Jain is the president of the Forum for Fairness in Education, Sumit Vohra, education activist. We have Anil Yadav, who's a parent from Presidium School, Avisha Kulkarni, he's an advocate, he's an activist and a parent, and Suman Shetty, parent from Universal High. We also have Prajakta Pethkar. She's a member of the panel that has been formed right now for the Amendment of Fee Regulation Act. I'm going to go first to Prajakta, who joins us on Skype. While the audio might be slightly difficult, viewers, this is important. Prajakta Pethkar, please tell us, there was one meeting that was held of this committee. The minutes of the meeting have not been released yet. Why have the minutes of the meeting not been released, and what are the recommendations that came out from this committee?
On 19th April, first let me brief you with certain things. Myself, Prajakta Pethkar, Anil Yadav and Mr. Sunil Chaudhary, we are the 3 panel members being appointed by Mr. Vinod Taude on the committee to amend the provisions of Fee Regulation Act 2011. However, on 19th, when we had, come across this meeting, we learned that Mr. Rustam Kerawala and Mr. Jesus Pali had attended this meeting from the management side. However, after this meeting, we had recommended them enough provisions, amendments. However, after this, they had promised us that they are going to give us the minutes of meet within a day or two, and we shall send all the written manual amendments to them after uploading the website and getting downloaded it from the circulars, from the website. But however, now it is 6 days past, they have not yet sent us the minutes of meet, to which I have given a call several times to Ms. Sangeeta Shetty, saying that why are you not providing us the minutes of meet, to which they said that we are yet to come up with different amendments and press release, to which I said that until unless you take an approval of the parents in the meeting of 29th May for the amendments, you cannot come up with any press release which favors the management. However, this is a complete lollipop shown to we parents and the parent representatives that yes, we are going to work, Mr. Saudi is going to work. However, everything fell on the deaf ears. Now finally the results are, we are feeling immensely cheated by the government, who is completely saying that we are going to take your consideration. However, the amendments are only done in the favor of the school management. In regards, we also said that Mr. Rustam Kerawala from Vibgyor School should not be attending and amending these provisions. However, he is the lawbreaker, since he and his Mr. Subordinator Jesus Colley have found in immense criminal complaints. Therefore, the law offenders cannot be the lawmakers. Despite of that, the minutes of meet had not come. So we are smart enough to read between the lines as to why the minutes of meet have not been sent. They're trying to hide every bit of evidences. They're trying to hide every bit of things from us. Therefore, finally, this time we do not look forward for the parents' justice.
Don't expect justice for the parents. And she's on the committee. She's on the committee right now, which is really worrying. Jayant Jain, tell me this. There is the story that the government is considering a proposal saying if 2/3 of the parents agree to the fee hike, then technically nobody else has the authority or the right to protest. Do you believe that is pro-parent?
This shows the bankruptcy of the government actually, and even we can prove the nexus between the school management and the government. See, when they talk about 2/3 and all, because they say that even in parliament, everything is being decided by 2/3 majority only. How can it work here? Suppose, for example, 2/3 parents, if they say that no fee hike for 10 years, then what will they do? Are the school not going to increase the fee? Because it is totally wrong on their part. In parliament, you have that secret ballot and all.
By that argument, Jayant Jain, if 2/3 of the parents have agreed to the fee hike, which means that a majority think that it's fair, what's wrong with that?
No, because it will never happen, because the school can, they can victimize the children, they can harass the parents, and there is no ballot as such. They can manipulate everything over there, and it's happening right now also. Even the PTA is being managed, PTA is being tortured, PTA members are being, managed by the school, and nothing is being done, this is totally wrong on the part of the government that they are coming out with such an law, where, the 2/3 of the parents, they are agreeing to something and others will agree to it. How can you do that? Because if you go to the market and if you buy something like mineral water, it's costing 20 rupees. The MRP is 20 rupees. Almost all the shopkeepers are selling it for more than the MRP.
Right. Let me just bring in Avisha Kulkarni. Avisha Kulkarni is a parent as well as an activist and an advocate. Do you believe that there's more than meets the eye in this particular proposal and regulation, Avisha?
Definitely this 2/3 thing is brought in, that will be totally ultra virus. We will definitely challenge it, because just because 2/3 people are ignorant about the law, the fee hike cannot just pass by like that. Even if one person agitates and proves that the hike fee is illegal, the government and the court will have to take into consideration. while fighting my case from 2008, the same Mr. Rustam Kerawala's Vibgyor High School, against which I had filed a case in 2008, which I won in the Honorable Bombay High Court in 2011, and which is challenged now by the Kerawala and Vibgyor High School in the Supreme Court. That hearing, of course, is closed on 28 February, and we are awaiting the order on that. But what I want to say is that during entire proceedings, Mr. Kerawala, his lawyers and the managements in other cases also have been always saying that there are these few parents who are disgruntled parents and only they are troublemakers. So I remember very categorically, and I want to mention it here, that in the Honorable Bombay High Court, Justice Chandrachud once had mentioned that when Mr. Kerawala and his lawyers had made some same accusation against me in the court, they had said that just because one parent shows the courage to come and fight against these illegalities, you can't just say that this parent is a troublemaker, or you cannot kind of isolate them. They have a full right. So I am sure that the law of this land and the judiciary definitely takes into consideration that even if one person raises the voice and proves the illegality, no act can stop that. That will be the violation of my constitutional rights also.
Niranjan,
not only mine, all parents' constitutional rights.
Niranjan Shetty, there are several problems here. First, Union HRD Minister Prakash Javadekar said very clearly and repeatedly that he believes that the hiked school fees is unfair and that the government will do something about it, but the government continues to drag its feet. And remember, parents have to pay the fees before the first week of June, or their children will no longer go to school. It's a risk that no parent wants to take, which means that if the government doesn't come out with a regulation, then the parents have no choice. They have to pay the fees. Secondly, why is it in Maharashtra that we're seeing that the government is not taking pro-parent decisions? What's going on here?
Nefe, first of all, let me thank you that initially when you showed the viewers about who are the people who are like the politicians who are owning the schools, of course, none of the single BJP person is holding. So you can understand since years.
But that's not the
let
point.
me complete, Mr. Clyde. When your turn comes, you can respond to it. Now, since years they have been doing and coming with such kind of laws.
No, so actually, since you brought it up, since you brought up the political parties, then in that case, nothing should stop you.
That's what I'm saying.
What is stopping the government?
Complete and then
if you're
we can
saying
debate again,
that you are not, the BJP is not in ownership of any schools, then you should just go ahead and bring out a regulation.
When this Regulation of Fee Act came, it was in the year of 2011 and not at this present government has brought. Right? Before that, such kind of drafts comes into existence, we can have a suggestion and objection. I do not understand why nobody took up such kind of objection at that point of time.
Let me tell you that this problem has been on for at least...
We had given our suggestions.
The parents have been protesting, Niranjan Shetty, every year for several years. This is not the first year. My question to you is specifically about this year. I'm not asking you about previous years. I'm asking you about this year. I'm asking you specifically about Maharashtra. If a committee has been set up, why is that committee making decisions that obviously seems unfair?
Absolutely. See, everything needs to be done within a legal framework. You cannot get up one day in the morning and say just because something is happening, you have to come back and roll back the law. So there are procedures, and my honorable minister, who is presently the Vinod Taudeji, he has assured the parents that whatever the corrective measures needs to be taken, he has categorically mentioned that in the larger interest of the parents, he will do that. Of course, in the past, when this law was formulated, at that point of time, this kind of mechanisms were there. And now that is the reason why these schools and basically are trying to use that kind of strategy to take out the benefit out of that. Now, whatever can be done in the interest of the parents, we'll do. Of course, now one of the panel members
before we finish what you're saying, Niranjan Shetty, point out to you that Mangal Prabhat Lodha of the BJP runs the Lodha Foundation and the school is in Thane. So that it's not completely true that none of the BJP politicians own any schools. The point that we're trying to make is that politicians have stakes in schools. Now,
No,
either you
not
can
he-
tell me
but
that
he
that is not the reason
There's
you
not
are...
a single person who's accusing of him charging such kind of use fees.
No,
and
I'm
also
asking you, why is the government dragging its feet?
It's
Either
not-
you are concerned
let me
about your
complete-
political
That's
friends...
what I'm saying. So if you have to do, then here is a state which has to abide by the laws. So nothing can, if they have raised the issues, naturally our honorable minister have brought into the notice 3 of this panel member, which one is with us, one is with us, and she is accusing, but she should appreciate, yes, that she is one of the panel member who's been given the opportunity to speak something on that, and she is part of that panel. Now, when these things are going, she herself is saying this will come on 29th of May, and we are into 24th of May. So let us wait, have some patience. So you have been waiting for almost 6 years after the Regulation of Fees Act was promulgated, and now
two questions to the parents. 1 second. 2 questions to the parents. Clyde, I see your hand. I'm going to come to you. Prajakta, please tell us this. First of all, is this something that you came up with only this year, not giving the government enough time? Are you not giving the government enough time for procedure? And shouldn't you be grateful, according to Niranjan Shetty, that you've been allowed an opportunity to speak? I think that is a little unfair, given the fact that as citizens, we shouldn't be allowed an opportunity to speak. The government should be listening to us at all points.
Over here, I have something to elaborate. Since my fellow mate, Mr. Niranjan just said, that I should be thankful enough for the opportunity the government has granted me, or to my fellow mates sitting on the panel out there. Well, we did definitely were grateful and are grateful for the opportunity they had given us. However, this opportunity has been dragged by us parents. After a long battle, we have fought for 3 to 4 years continuously in the row. Again, on the other thing, we were expecting the minutes of meet past 6 days, because if you speak about the certain amendments which has to come after a certain period of time, that is all fine, well said, well understood. However, when it comes to the minutes of meet, it does not take a week together to send the minutes of meet. And another thing to this, after the minutes of meet, whenever they come, after that they should have waited for the parents to come up on 29th as discussed and decided to speak on the amendments coming from the school management side and the parent side. However, before doing this, how could the committee immediately release the press saying that we propose that the school fee should be hiked by the school, or the liberty should be given to the school to hike the fees if 2/3 parents come and pay the fees. Rest others have to agree to what the school has come up with, or to the 2/3 parents paying it. However, this is a complete cheat on the committee's part. They have given us a lollipop that you will be considered out here and your amendments will be taken. This is a complete cheat, because the parents sitting out there who are sitting with n number of, a lot of trust on us. Completely seeking justice.
Fair enough. So I think the important thing that Prajakta, the point she's making is the fact that this is not new. This is a battle, Niranjan Shetty, that is at least 4 years old. And if we go by what Avisha Kulkarni is telling us, it's even older, because she's been fighting a case for a lot longer. So my point is, again, Niranjan Shetty, I'm coming back to the same thing. If these parents have been fighting for 4 years, if they've been approaching the government for 4 years, then this government has been around for at least 3 of those 4 years. It's not a last-minute move. Nobody's asking you to break procedure, break process, or break the law. You have to simply do what needs to be done. And the demands are very simple. I'm going to put them up on the screen. We support these demands. One is make sure that audited reports of all schools are made public on the website so parents know where their money is going. Secondly, make sure that there is no fee hike without bringing the PTA and the parents on board about it, explaining to them where the money is going. We're not saying cap the fees. You cannot run a business if you cap the fees. We're saying explain the fee hikes. Why is it that the government continues to be reluctant to do so, both on the state and the central level? Because this is a problem across schools across the country. And Mr. Prakash Javadekar said very clearly that he will help out, but he has not. Clyde Crasto.
I'd like to agree with the points that you've been making. First and foremost, we have to make sure that we do not politicize this whole issue. The important point here is the students and the parents. The affordability is the factor. Now, when you're talking about, political leaders owning certain schools and things like that, see, the law should be equal for everybody, whether it's owned by a politician, not owned by a politician, some businessman, everybody comes under the ambit of the law. So law is applicable to everybody. And as a party, No, ma'am, you have to be open to a fact that if a political spokesperson or a political party is talking like this, you should be open that at least there's a change. There's a change of a mindset among people. And
I will give you the example.
Yes, ma'am, but can I complete?
I will give you the example, and that is why.
No,
yeah, please complete, and then I will answer.
I am with you, and I'm sure whatever you say, we will look into that. And if we've made a mistake, we'll be the first one to raise a hand and said, yes, we will rectify it. That's what my point is. And we have to get used to the fact that if there are politicians who are trying to make a change, then I think you should welcome that change. And having said that, if there is anything that is going wrong in the system, and if any political party, for example, my party, part of it is that we'll be the first ones to rectify it. You tell us, we will make sure we rectify it, because we want to be part of the system. We don't want to go against the parents. We don't want to go against the students. Life is very important for the students' future. So you have to look at it that way. We are not going to endorse anything that will go against you.
In that case, Clyde Crasto, the previous government, which was run in a coalition of your party and the Congress, these parents have been fighting for so long. Why wasn't anything done then?
Well, if it wasn't done then, there's always a change. We will look into it. And let me tell you one more thing. You didn't look into it
for 5 years. You look into it now?
No, why not? Why not? We made a mistake. Why can't we change it? Why can't we can change the mistakes and look at a better thing. And also one more point I'd like to make it is, during that time, when the Fee Regulation Act was there, one of the things was to empower the Parents Teachers Association, which is part of the clause, and which has to be done. The Parents Teachers Association has to be empowered, and they have to make this decision, and they have to come with something that.
Okay, let me bring in the rest of the panelists right now. Suman Shetty is a parent from Universal High School. Suman Shetty, do you agree that there are changes being made and the government is moving in the right direction?
As of now, honestly, there is nothing which is being done. There are just assurances which have been given to us. We have been running from pillar to post trying to kind of address our issue. But, it's 5th of June when the children start going to the next academic year. And still we have no clarity whatsoever as to what's going to happen. And on the contrary, we get to hear news such as today, which was published in Mumbai Mirror, wherein 2/3 parents agree, the rest don't have a right to protest. And, people like with the criminal records are on the panel and stuff. So how are you supposed to get assurances? We only have verbal assurances from the government. But there is no concrete step. How long does it take to implement the law which is already there in existence? We are not saying make a new law. We are not saying, okay, fine, give us moons and stars. What we are saying is basic things. What we are saying here is that if schools are not supposed to do profiteering, what is the harm, or how much time and effort does it take to get their balance sheets audited? We as parents are ready to pay the fees tomorrow. Show us that you are spending what you're charging from us. I mean, come on here, you're taking $1.5 lakh for a child who's going to nursery. He's just spending 3 hours in the school. So what are you spending this money on? And pre-primary section is most exploited, let me tell you, and there is urgent attention required there. We have all been speaking about 1st to 10th, and this is under the ambit, that is not under the ambit. But that is not done. I mean, we want, nobody can tell me which school my child should go. I can send him to a government school, I can send him to a private school. But the point here is that the government has to ensure wherever my child goes, he has to be, the fees cannot be unreasonable and unjustified. That's what I have to say.
Sumit Vohra, education activist, joining us from Delhi. Sumit, the problem is national. I want to point out here that the problem is national. From the time we picked up this story a couple of months ago, we've witnessed and we've tracked protests in Hyderabad, Pune, Ahmedabad, Surat, Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, Gurgaon, Ghaziabad, Noida. It seems like parents across the country are facing this problem, but somehow it's just not big enough for the government to pay attention to.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I'll tell you, basically recently now in Andhra Pradesh, they started a sticker campaign. So the parents are putting sticker anywhere they can find so that the CM can see it, and he might implement some law. What is happening is the school lobby is so strong. First, I'll come to 2/3 of if the parents agree. I think the schools are making a ground from next year. They would choose a creamy layer parents who can afford the fees, first of all. Second, it is very berserk if you to talk like this. Basically, if let's say a thing costs 100 rupees and tomorrow I'm selling for 200 rupees and other people can afford it, they don't mind. But how you can implement it? If a single person goes, it's a fundamental right of every parent, every person on this earth to apply for anything. He can go and file PIL against this law. First of all, this law cannot be amended. It's totally, nonsense what they're talking, first of all. Second, from Haryana, UP, your Kolkata, Mumbai, your Andhra Pradesh, everywhere the protest is going on and no government is listening, and like the parents are not shouting from like last 1 year, they're shouting from last 3 years. So many tweets are going, so many protests are going, the parents are sitting on hunger strike, but no action be taken. And like, daily, I've got around 1.25 families as followers on my forum, admissions.com. I get so many tweets and see like they're tweeting directly to the CMs of different states. But no action has been taken.
No action has been taken. Also, let me point out here for our viewers that in 27 years, there has never been a rollback of a fee hike, which means that once parents pay the fees, they'll never get that money back. So if you're going to push it past the June 5th deadline, we don't have too much time, parents pay that fees, they're not going to get that fees back. There's nothing stopping the government, Niranjan Shetty, from putting a stay order saying that this year at least you cannot increase the fees until the government has made its decision. If you're telling me, Niranjan Shetty, that government has to follow process, that you cannot expect the government to break process, then just release a government order saying don't increase the fees until we've made up our decision, we've made up our minds. Why is it that the government is even reluctant to do that much?
Yeah, I think our Education Minister, Honorable Vinod Taude, is very clear. He has categorically again mentioned that they are in talks with all this kind of institution, those who are running this kind of business. Initially, you also mentioned that such schools need to raise a fee hike where they need to run their institution. Fair enough. Now, as my colleague Mr. Clyde also mentioned about how the politicians have been running. And so you can understand, basically, let me come to again the focal point of it. Like you said, there is not a single incident where fees were rolled. Now here I have an incident where the Sinhagad Springdale has rolled back their fee hike. So just that was because of the intervention of our Honorable Minister Vinod Taude. And secondly, as you rightly pointed out about Javadekar himself has given this stern instruction to all the institutions not to go about the increase the fee hike.
But they've done it anyway, so which means that they don't care about the stern instruction.
Now we have to differentiate. Like one of the panelists spoke about how the students they can decide like which school they have to go. Now you understand the difference over here is the students, those who are going in the IB school, CBSE schools, and these are the things where they very well know the amount of rupees they have to spend. Now, out of the blue, and suddenly they are asking that the government should intervene when it was in the year 2011, such kind of regulation act was there in the place. Now, let us, at least they should give us some time. Let us give us, at least you should give us some time. When there is time.
How much time do you need?
Now, see, it is up to the Honorable Minister. I am not the Minister at present. What I can assure on the panel, yes, my government is sensitive. It will take positive steps in favor of the parents.
Let me point out to you that you're talking about a regulation that already exists. The regulation says very clearly that you cannot raise the fees more than 15% every 2 years without the approval of the PTA. I'm holding in my hand an 80% fee hike to go from UKG to class 1. The class 1 fee in this particular school, which is a Garodia school, was 1.3 lakh rupees. It went up to 1.49 lakh rupees. And then what was 2 lakh rupees went up to 6 to 7 lakh rupees in 1 year. Explain to me how this is following the regulation. Why is it that people from the education department are not responding to complaints that parents are making? Avisha Kulkarni wanted to come in. Avisha, go ahead.
Yes, I would like to say that in last 3 years, when our matter, we have already won the case in the Honorable Bombay High Court. So what today Mr. Nandakumar, who is holding such a responsible post, makes such irresponsible statement that parents' agitation is a myth. So he means to say that the case which we won in the Honorable Bombay High Court, the judiciary has given a judgment on a myth. And when the government has to file an affidavit in the Supreme Court, let me give you last 3 years, I have been following it up with Mr. Vinod Taude, Mr. Nandakumar. He very well will remember me because I was in his office and showing as per the law how they are defaulting to file their affidavit in the Supreme Court. And Mr. Gunjal, I have under the application which I had filed, as per the law, that how they have defaulted, how many visits, Mr. Gunjal and Mr. Nandakumar, I have come to your office and you filed 2 separate affidavits in the Supreme Court, one as per the law initially which does not allow profiteering and charging capitation fee, and then you totally go 180 degrees and then you file a new affidavit that the capitation fees charged is permissible. And how many visits we have to make, and you are saying that your government is serious about it? And the last hearing, in the Supreme Court, the government counsel does not even remain present. What seriousness you are showing?
Anil Yadav is a parent from Presidium School in Noida. Anil Yadav, this entire thing is obviously anti-parent and anti-student. There's somebody within the school premises who's being protected.
Yeah. Actually, I want to tell you about the fee hike. We are fighting, you are saying that the school is going to on fee hike. We are fighting from last 5 years that school already have hiked 50% fee. And today, because some parents didn't pay the fee, school issued the 250 student TC. Last 20 days, the students are sitting on the home and we are going ministers. We meet Prakash Javadekar, we meet Kejriwal. Kejriwal didn't meet us. We also visit CBSE chairman and director of education many times.
Anil Yadav ji, जब आप प्रकाश जावड़ेकर से मिले थे, जब आप प्रकाश जावड़ेकर साहब से मिले थे, तो उनका क्या रिएक्शन, क्या रिस्पांस था? प्रकाश जावड़ेकर जी बोले कि ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता, आप बच्चों को निकाल नहीं सकता स्कूल, किसी को राइट्स नहीं है ऐसा। उसने तुरंत वो लेटर पे साइन करके प्रिंसिपल सेक्रेटरी को दिया, उन्होंने सीबीएसई चेयरमैन को दिया, हम सीबीएसई चेयरमैन से भी मिले, वो कह रहे हैं हमारे अंडर में दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट का ये इशू है, हम इस पर कुछ नहीं कर सकते। अब आप देख लीजिए, अब आप कौन करेगा इसको? अगर वो उनके अंडर में, सीबीएसई के अंडर में ये नहीं है तो कौन करेगा? केजरीवाल जी मिलते नहीं है, सिसोदिया जी टाइम नहीं देते हैं, डीओई बोलता है फाइल 15 दिन में रेडी हुई नहीं, हम गए फाइल भी रेडी नहीं हुई हमारी। 4 मई को हमने वहाँ पे लेटर दिया, 15 मई को बोलते हैं अभी फाइल साइन होने के लिए डायरेक्टर को आज जाएगी। इतने दिन में उनकी फाइल रेडी नहीं हुई। हम कह रहे हैं स्कूल को बुला लीजिए, हमें बुला लीजिए, क्या इशू, हम उनकी फ़ी पे करने के लिए रेडी हैं। लेकिन वो फ़ी में क्या, फ़ी में भी क्या इशू है? 2000 रुपये खाने का लेते हैं पर स्टूडेंट से। 1800 बच्चे किसी को खाना नहीं देते हैं, फर्स्ट क्लास से लेके 10वीं क्लास तक का। एम.मार्क लेवी के नाम पे 4000 रुपये लेते हैं, आई कार्ड का पैसा हमसे लेते हैं, डायरी का पैसा हमसे लेते हैं। अब आप बताइए कि हम उसके खिलाफ लड़ रहे हैं, उसके खिलाफ एक्शन नहीं लिया कुछ डीओई ने। पिछले 2-3 साल से हम लोग कंप्लेंट कर रहे हैं। अब इसके ऊपर सब जगह घूम के निराश होके हम क्या करें?
I would like to add here, like, you know, school is a very powerful and rich lobby. What happens is, now even like in the Delhi also there was a rollback of like last year of the fees in Delhi. Now what happens is there's a corruption from the grassroots level. Even the top minister wants to do something in some states. I'm not saying all the states. Let's say in Delhi, the lower level staff of education department, they're hand in glove with the schools. So even if the minister says go and take action, so they'll make it sure to find some excuse. So and moreover, if you go to court,
are you saying, Sumit Vohra, that corruption still survives around us?
A very big statement. A very big statement done by Mr. Nandakumar, the principal secretary of education department.
किस चीज का बोलते हैं? खाने का। बच्चे को खाना तो मिलता नहीं है, फिर किस बात को 1510 रुपए लेते हैं? 3 करोड़ रुपया बनता है, 3.5 करोड़ रुपए साल में 1800 बच्चों का बनता है।
DPS Faridabad, the fee hike has been more than 100% in 1 year in nursery, and in the school in the last 3 years.
I understand everybody. I understand everybody's upset right now, and we're going to give Niranjan Shetty and Clyde an opportunity to respond. I want to hear out some viewers who have called us. Dr. Sukanya is on the phone line from Mumbai. Dr. Sukanya, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. It's a debate which is going on for ages and years. As an academician, I strongly object that there is something called, dual system. Education is such a noble thing. It's a divine thing. It should not be commercialized, like charging discriminatory fees from parent to parent at various classes. You are educating a child. You are giving all of sanskars. In the process, the politicians who are owning the schools, they have to be straightly told one important fact, that they have to follow, they have to obey, they come under ambit of law.
Yes,
and if at all it has been found that there's a discriminatory fees charge I think the management need to be taken to task as such.
Right. So there is a regulation. Nobody's following that regulation. Nobody's implementing that regulation. Dr. Hema is also on the phone line from Mumbai. Dr. Hema, go ahead.
One particular
I just want to start with one sentence. Hamam mein sab nange hai idhar. First thing is, they are talking about 2/3 and 1/3 parents. The poor people, where they will go for a work or sit for protests every day. This has been going on since my child was there in 1990. I'm talking about. This is not for the first time. And second thing is, we should find out the nexus between the education department, their ex-employees who are holding the plots, education plots, how the education plots are allotted to the all politicians. Find out first that. How it is done. And whether they are following what are the terms and conditions on which they are given the education plot. And if they are building a building on that education building, so-called a temple, and extorting money from the parents. And I salute to that lady who is fighting alone from Kerawala school. Whatever it is, she has been fighting alone. And how many parents do you expect that they to fight alone?
That is absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Avisha Kulkarni has been fighting alone for a very long time. Deepak is also on the phone line from Delhi. Deepak, very quickly, go ahead.
We are with you.
Deepak? All right, we seem to have lost Deepak. I'm going to take this question to Niranjan Shetty. Niranjan Shetty, it is obvious.
I would like to add that when my fight was going on and my child was illegally expelled just one day prior to starting of the school, I went to the Chief Minister, Education Minister. They all say, oh, these are private schools. We have no control over them. If they are private schools, you don't have control. Why are you giving your prime lands at 1 rupee lease rent? You are giving them all the facilities and then they are making profiteering on that. And then after end of it, you say that we have no control over them. Which law of this land says that the government does not have? Have you read the Supreme Court judgments of the 11 judges bench? Have you read other judgments which are of modern school, which are the other laws, Prohibition of Capitation Fee Act? All these laws are there. We are getting orders and the still state government does not understand. And they just say that we have no right over them.
I only have one question for you. Why is the government dragging its feet? Is it protecting its political friends right now who own schools from various parties?
No. There is one such example which I would like to bring to your notice. Mr. Nanda Kumar, the Principal Secretary of Education Sports, who once said that I do not entertain parents at my door because fee hike is not my issue. However, the schools, the management are the respectable citizen of the state. However, the parents are not. So in this case, now my question goes to the government and to the authorities, therefore, that who is the respectable citizen of the country? And if this is how you are going to dilute the law, then the stagnant law which has not been operated and implemented by the schools for years together, is it going to be followed and implemented by the school? Are there offences and punishable offences with fine and imprisonment available for the schools?
So see, fundamentally it's the same question. Niranjan Shetty, this government promised us a corruption-free India, Bhrashtachar Mukt Bharat. When will that happen? Why is it that people are still dealing with corruption on every level? Why is it that powerful political people are still being protected? There must be some reason why this government has not taken action yet. When there are so many parents, are their taxpayers' money not good enough? Is it not good enough that they work so hard, that they pay their taxes, that they're honest citizens who pay taxes and who vote? What will it take? Unless we are powerful politicians, why is it that our voices don't matter?
I won't deny that on your channel, like how the other panelists are taking up the issues, like people, all these previous politicians have got the land on ₹1. So they very well know how this kind of nexus was there along with the educations. But let me say that today Prajakta is there on the panel. That's again I am saying why my education minister has allowed such kind of panel to be formed, and she has the authority. No, she has the authority to speak. Now, even if she has any grievances against Nanda Kumar, she can categorically mention it to the minister. Previously, the government did not even bother to form such kind of panel.
She's saying that her informing to the minister has made absolutely no difference. They're saying that being on the panel has made absolutely no difference.
Which is within the ambit of law, so it has to do within the process of the law. You cannot just get up and come out with
months
the
before.
GR and mention that such kind of thing. So all those which were done previously in as per the Regulation Act of 2011, you cannot do away with within a day. So all
Nobody's
this
asking you to. Is anybody asking the government to do away with this in one day?
To be taken a view of the adequate general or whoever the concerned authorities are. You cannot change a law within a day, and just because.
This is a very weak argument, Niranjan Shetty. I've told you. No.
Panel has been formed. Discussions are going on. Just something.
See, your defense is very weak.
I fail to understand
don't
why
say
we
some
should
media.
debate when there is nothing on record.
Well, there is nothing on record because the government has done nothing on record. Let me tell you.
Very
the
unfair.
government, and don't tell me, Don't tell me that we are asking you to change.
The Honorable Minister has come on road itself and he met the parents and he assured them, and that is why the result that the CM got has rolled back.
So if you
compare the previous government and the present government, that is why my government is
but let him give the justice to the parents.
We are on the road right now. We have been protesting besides our disease. What are we supposed to do?
Let's take this question. Since Niranjan Shetty is insisting on making this a political argument, Suman Shetty, 1 second. Compare the reaction to your fight between this government and the previous government. Do you find this government to be more sensitive?
Absolutely.
There is
not at
all. Whatever the government is, we haven't really seen any parents being benefited. I mean, I'm not even talking about benefit. What I'm talking here is what is lawful and what is there in the law. The Fee Regulation Act is already existing. Why are you not implementing it if you're so clear? See, I'll tell you, we have had a meeting with the Education Minister. After that also, we have received a letter from the school, point blank, saying that they will de-roll our children. So what do we say? I mean, they say they are law-abiding citizens, but government is more powerful or these schools are more powerful. I really don't understand. So what is the government saying? I mean,
is this government more sensitive than the previous government in your fight, Jayant Jain?
No, I'm sorry, that is not the case at all.
Last 2 years we have been lodging complaints with the government.
If that was the case, we would have had a decision by now.
I have written to the CM also, I have written to the Education Minister many times, many reminders have been sent, many complaints have been lodged. Our concern is why they are not implementing the laws. We don't want any amendments right now, but just implement the law. There are two different acts, Prohibition of Competition Fee Act 1987 and Fee Regulation Act. Why the government is not implementing those laws? Why they are not taking any action against the schools? That is our concern. We don't want anything new. Why the committee has been appointed? Where was the need of the committee? You should have taken action against the school as per the law, as per the acts are there. So why you need that committee? You tell me first.
Clyde?
And another eyewash.
It's another eyewash, yeah, just to consume time. This year will go, and the next year again the protest will be there. So every year this is happening. Last year also we protested, nothing had happened. This year also parents are protesting. Again next year we will
argument that you're asking the government to change the law in one day. First of all, you're not asking for the law to be changed.
No.
And secondly, this is not a fight of one day.
Yeah, it is not a fight of one day because we have been fighting since so many years.
And why all of a sudden now they are up to amending the law?
Clyde?
I just want to highlight.
One at a time, please. One at a time. Clyde, very quickly.
I just want to quickly highlight the fact that it's about sensitivity that you're talking about, which is the very important thing. If the earlier government was not sensitive enough, well, that was really wrong. And the question of being sensitive now, we need to work in the present. We need to look at this issue now sensitively and see what we can do. And one point I want to make here is, throughout the discussion that I've been listening to, the panelists have been mentioning one name, Mr. Nandkumar. I think my humble request to the present government would be is to first look into what this Mr. Nandkumar is up to. I mean, you need to question him and pull him up and see what is up to. So the fact here is, let's look at it sensitively right now in the present and take it forward from here, because this is a very sensitive issue right now.
Right. All right. Let me just take a few more callers. Our phones are ringing continuously. 1 second. Deepa's on the phone line from Bangalore. Deepa, go ahead.
One question.
Can I speak now?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
What is the most important thing, according to me, is to give good education. And it is the job of the government to give good quality, low-cost education. Now, there are members of the public who start schools to give quality education, and then the cost will be higher. It is then the choice of the parents to put their children in the schools that they can afford to, in the same way they go to restaurants or travel as per their budget.
Now, I'm not talking about schools which are begun by politicians and where they've got land at low cost. I'm just talking about general members of the public.
Okay.
And in the process, while we are fighting to lower the school fees, it will be unfair if we are going to spoil the entire level of education. Because after
so you're saying you should be open to paying that fees if you want your child to go to one of those schools. My argument and my response to that is simply this, that if a parent is paying a fee of 1 lakh rupees in 1 year, given the economy right now, can that parent be asked to pay 2 lakh rupees in the next year without warning, because it comes in a note in a child's book, or it comes in as an email saying this is what is due, you have to pay it before such and such date, without justification of why those fees are increased? Nobody's saying don't increase the fees. The demand is very simple. Show us where the money is going. If you are going to double the fees or increase it by 50% or 100%, parents have a right to know where that money is going. What are you using it for? What facilities are you putting in the school? What will you teach my child next year that you didn't teach my child last year? Deepak Arora from Delhi. Deepak, go ahead.
The problem is this, that all parents are treated as cash cows. All schools are milking them for no reason. They have no right to increase the fees. They are not improving the standard of education, and they keep increasing the fees. We are just being treated as cash cows. That is all that I have to say.
Ma'am, I want to highlight a very shocking incident.
Go ahead.
Yeah, what happened was the previous government, we were getting a lot of complaints, a lot of schools are asking for donations. So we sent them the mails with the parents' codes and saying that the previous government in Delhi, they told us, okay, get us the proof and we'll take action against the schools. We did, our parents went with the leading channels like correspondents and did a sting operation 7 or 8 schools, and we gave video tapes of the schools asking for open donation. It was on all the national televisions. No action was taken against a single school. So what I mean to say is the previous government did not take, the current government is trying its best, but the school is very strong. Still they are taking donations. Till that time, there is no punitive action taken against one school. You know, even one school management is penalized, or we cannot recognize a school because the children suffer. Till the time one school is given some punitive action, till then there's nothing going to stop this. This all debates going to go on.
I want to tell you, ma'am, one more things, that my son is in first class, and again he is studying in first class. After studying 3.5 years, again he is not able to write. What school is saying? Please put him again in first. So again I am paying 2 lakhs rupees this year for first class. That's my son.
And schools have got 100 crore surplus in the deepest way down.
I want to ask Jayant Jain this question. One second, Jayant Jain. Is the problem fundamentally corruption? Is the problem fundamentally vested interest? Because you're talking about the fact that there is already a regulation in place that is simply not being implemented.
True. It is corruption only. There is nothing more than that. There is no transparency at all. The government is not maintaining any transparency. See, this is happening since last, I think, 2 months we have been talking. But not a single reaction from any of the politicians till date. Neither from the central government nor from the state government. There is no reaction from anybody, because education is a sector where the huge corruption is there. I can say it could be more than 15% of the total GDP. And coaching classes, educational institutes, and everywhere the corruption is there. From KG itself, the people are charging more than 2 to 3 lakhs rupees donation for the admission purpose. So all are hand in glove with each other. No action has been taken yet. Not a single complaint has been lodged against any of the schools till date. Why the government, forget about the previous government, I am not talking about the government, which government it was, but neither the previous government and nor this government, even in the last 15 years, no complaint has been lodged by any of the governments, any of the education inspector or the deputy director. Why this is happening? Why they are scared of the education institute?
I would like to draw your attention on 19th
Even these education inspectors are being treated like dogs, you know, like they are not allowed to enter the premises of the private schools. Why?
Niranjan Shetty,
there are no answers at all from whatsoever. I mean, there are a lot of questions that we have. Why this? Why that? Why their accounts are not audited? Why it is not published on the website? So, I mean, in spite of having so many questions and in spite of having answers in the books of law, there is nothing being done. I am a PTA, I mean, lot has been said about PTA parents. I am a PTA parent this year in the executive committee of my school, okay? But let me tell you, throughout my tenure as a PTA member, there was not even a single discussion on fee hike. When I questioned them, what they are saying blatantly that it has been discussed with the PTA and approved by them. I mean, come on, I was witness to it, yeah. It wasn't done at all. So schools have been, they are just kind of doing what they feel fit. Which is not right. So there is definitely something which is the government not doing.
Niranjan Shetty, it's same question. I've asked this question now 4 times. I'm going to ask it again. Obviously, the government is dragging its feet. What is the government afraid of? Are you afraid of upsetting your political friends? Are you afraid of uprooting corruption in the education department? Or is it simply that you just cannot do your job fast enough and it takes 3 years?
Yeah, I would only say that you need to wait for some time.
How much time?
And see, I cannot say that because I am not the minister of the education.
But you know, unfortunately, let me be honest, this is not the first discussion. This is not the first discussion. Jayant Jain is witness to the fact that we have done multiple discussions about this topic over the last 2.5 months. Every time we do a discussion, we have someone from the BJP, a representative who comes in and says, I'm not the right person. I will go and speak to the minister and I will get back to you. Unfortunately, the minister himself will not speak to us. Why is it that the minister himself will not speak to us?
Here is the government which has formed a panel to look into the
But here is a panel that is obviously biased. Here is a panel that is biased. That is why we are having this conversation.
She is the one of the panelists who is airing her views. And she has the authority to speak into that.
She shouldn't have to, Niranjan Shetty, come onto national television and say that the panel is biased.
Isn't that the democracy that she is going and speaking and she has every right?
Democratic right you haven't given her.
That's a right. Why only 2 or 3 parents have been given the right?
Again, when I am saying let me complete. When I am saying it is a sensitive government, that's what I am trying to say. Here is a government which has formed the panel to discuss and understand the issues which has been longing since years. Now Mr. Jayant himself have mentioned, and actually he has himself answered that all these institutions are private. The education inspector are not allowed to go inside. Now you need to understand the years of
that's not true. As per the letter of the law, that is not true. The law says very clearly. The law says very clearly, and this is a law in the Maharashtra state says very clearly. According to the Maharashtra Education Institutions Collection of Fee Act 2012, it makes it mandatory for school management to submit proposed fee structure to the executive panel of PTA for approval at least 6 months before the start of the new academic year. It is not being followed. Now it says fees can only be hiked once in 2 years. The law states, the act states school can hike.
Because now basically when, these are the schools.
Unfortunately, that's the problem. Everybody is distinguishing.
These are the IB school or the CBSE
They all come under this.
We do not.
They all come under this.
It doesn't come under this. So once they have to govern under, so that is what I was trying to say.
Now misleading, sir.
When Gujarat government can bring fee ordinance, they can put a tab on the fees. Why can't you, sir? Every state can do it.
We are trying to find out way.
And instead of doing your job right, you're recommending to parents where to send our children to schools. We should send it to government schools. Tell me how many government officials are sending it to government schools. All their children are either abroad or they are in top IB schools. So why are they not sending it to government schools?
First of all,
I didn't get you. Can you come again?
Niranjan Shetty, all schools come under the Maharashtra Education Institutions Collection of Fee Act 2011. Point number 1. Point number 2, I'm very glad that this government is sensitive, but that is not the government's job. We do not need you to empathize with us and be sensitive. We need you to do your job, and your job is to implement an act that already exists. Your job is to regulate all of the schools.
So the things which was bought before us, the action has been taken. Like for example, Sinhagad, this thing, it has rolled back its fees. Now the number of and a panel is formed wherein all that has been collected, and let us wait for few days where the honorable minister will himself come. He has said
this conversation is that we don't have 3 days.
He is having a talks, one-to-one talks along with those institutions, asking them to come.
They should be having one-to-one talks with the parents.
Parents, that's
absolutely.
No, talking to the wrong
has
rolled back because of some other reason. reasons.
Isn't the parents been called? Haven't you met the minister?
Sir, do you mean to say every parent has
my
to
government
protest?
and the Delhi government, where even Kejriwal is not even meeting them.
All the states.
Here, Mr. Javadekar, who's the HRD minister, he has met the representative.
Unfortunately, Niranjan Shetty, I will agree with you on one point. That Arvind Kejriwal, Arvind Kejriwal has not even met with parents. Manish Sisodia has not even met with parents. Arvind Kejriwal and Manish Sisodia do not have time right now for health and for education and for roads and all of the major problems that Delhi is facing. They are completely right now distracted by bickering within their own party. I will grant you that point. But my point is simply this. You keep saying, and everybody keeps saying, give us time, give us time. We don't have time. We're running out of time. June 1st, children have to go back to school. June 1st, children have to go. Don't give me any more assurances. Give us an assurance that Mr. Taude will come out and speak to us on this channel and give us answers.
We need to understand what actually things are that is in the law.
We've understood.
So it is really surprising that still need to understand.
I have to wrap up this discussion once again. I have to wrap up this discussion. Let me just point out for Niranjan Shetty's sake, and I'm sure he knows that as a parent himself, no parent wants to pull their child out of school. No parent wants to skimp on money that they spend on their children's education. Parents want to give their children the very, very best. They will not say that, listen, we will not spend this money on education, let's spend it somewhere else. They will give everything they have and then some more. Parents are not saying they don't want to pay for education. They're simply saying we want a justification. We want the regulations to be actually upheld. And if parents are protesting across the entire country, from north to south, east to west, then obviously we have a problem. What will it take to get the HRD minister to pay attention to parents and not pay attention to people who own the schools? What will it take to get the education minister of Maharashtra and all of the other states to pay attention to parents? We are taxpayers. We are salaried people. We work really hard. We want our children to have the best. Everybody is making logical arguments. The only argument that the government is giving us in return is give us time, give us time. Don't buy any more time, because you're buying time. You're dragging your feet. This shows that you're hand in glove with the people who are taking money off us. Prove that you don't want to be taken as hand in glove. Prove that you are actually sympathetic. Prove that you actually mean to do your job, and just put out a GR saying that, listen, you cannot increase fees this year. Please charge the same fees that you charged last year. That will be enough to prove that you really mean business. Until then, for as long as you keep asking us for time, you are proving that you are as corrupt as anybody else. Whether that is currently people in the education department, people who own the schools, previous governments, future governments, all of you are the same. Unless you can show us an action. Words are just not good enough anymore. Thanks for watching.